And Dr. Dave again. Today's video is about low back pain. So if you're having any kind of low back pain, whether it's the typical sciatica that shoots down the leg or it's just localized in your low back, sharp, dull, doesn't matter what it is, any type of issue within your low back, these are the best stretches that you can do to get relief. So what we're going to start off with first is a few of my favorites. This first one here is just going to be sitting like this in an Indian stance. And then we're just going to come right over this and stretch the side low back area. Now, right now I'm feeling this quite a bit in my thoracic, but if your low back is sore and tight, you're going to feel a stretch even down into your low back also. So this is just a good stretch here to warm up with. Okay, and then now we're going to go back to the other side. And like I've showed you guys in videos before, it's always good to take a deep breath in and out. So breathing in through the nose. Hold. And see, just even holding a deep breath, I'm like stretching more muscles than what I would have if I hadn't been. And then let out. Okay, so we're stretching both sides. Just getting the side stretched out. The next stretch that I like to do is the hamstrings. That can be done a few different ways. Some people can literally just do it just bending forward and stretching like this. Now, when you do stretch your hamstrings, I'll show you a couple different ways to do it. But if you're just sitting on the floor doing it like this and then bending over, you don't have to bend. You know, if your back's hurting, you can just literally stay pretty straight upright and just lean into it. And I can even feel a stretch right there into my hamstring. So the back side of the thigh here, that's your hamstring. Why hamstrings for low back pain? All your leg muscles tie right back into that low back. When I see patients that have a back issue in my office, all their leg muscles are typically tight and need stretched out. So hamstring stretches, I know you know that stretch. Hamstring is one of those areas that needs to be stretched out. So we'll do that on both sides. And good rule of thumb is just holding these for 10 to 12 seconds and then going back to the other side. Okay. So we're just starting with some of the kind of easier ones, but this is definitely an important one. Another way to do this in the yoga world is they'll do the downward dog. So another way to do this is to just go just like this. We can feel the back of my calf on this one where my knee's extended is stretching. If this hurts your low back doing this, you don't have to hold it as long. Some people will just pedal back and forth a little bit until they get warmed up. But if it feels good to you, just hold it like this. And I can feel a very good stretch in my calf right here. So those are your calf stretches. Now the most important stretch, the number one most important stretch, if you're having low back pain, in my opinion, is the piriformis muscle, which is going to be a little muscle right back here in your glute. It's about this long. In a small percentage of the population, that sciatic nerve actually pierces through that muscle, and that's why a lot of people are just predisposed to sciatica and back issues, is because they're some of those small percentage of people that have that nerve going through the muscle. On other people, it goes underneath. So when that muscle tightens up, that actually will flare up that nerve and send that sensation going down your leg. So if you've got the pain going down into your leg, you definitely need to be stretching the piriformis. If you don't have it radiating down, but you still have low back pain, it's still a great stretch to do. So that one's done like this. So you're gonna lay back, bring one leg up, and then you'll just let this leg lay over top like that. You're gonna take your hand, you're gonna press out. So this is what I call stage one. So stage one is just pushing out on the knee. Where you'll feel the stretch is down in your glute down here. So like for me, this isn't doing a whole lot. But if your back is really hurting, this could be already stretching you. Stage two is you're gonna take this knee and you're gonna put your hands under the other knee, and then you're gonna pull back and up. Now I'm stretching. For me, that's got a pretty good little stretch. This is stage 2. So as you work up the stages, it just gets deeper and deeper on the stretches. So you want to hold this for 10 to 12 seconds. Stage 3 is taking this elbow and just pushing out on that leg. Just pushing that leg down with your elbow. It's hard to see in the video, but just pushing that elbow right into that leg as you're pulling back up, and that just gets it even deeper. Stage 3. You'll see a lot of soccer players do a version of this stretch, and they'll do it like this. This isn't bad. When I pull this back up into my chest, then I can feel some piriformis. So this is another version if you don't want to lay back and maybe your knees or hips won't allow you to lay in that position. This is another way to do this stretch, is like this. And just switching to the other side. Important thing here is not so much twisting. The twisting's okay, but the main key to this is bringing the knee to the chest. So pulling that thing up to your chest and then pulling it back that direction and really pushing that hip into that piriformis muscle and feeling a deep stretch down in there. That's not too bad. It's not super deep for me. I definitely prefer this one here. So pushing the knee down, like I said, stage 1 for me doesn't do much. Maybe it does for you, but bringing that leg up and then pushing it out with your elbow, like I've got a very good piriformis stretch going on right here. Now, this stretch can also be done in a chair if it's hard for you to get up and down off the floor. So literally imagine if I was just sitting in a chair right now. What you do is you just put your leg on top of the other one like that, set up straight, not bent over, but upright posture in a chair, and then you're gonna push down on that knee. That's stage 1 in a chair. Stage 2 would be taking the knee, pulling it up to the opposite shoulder. So my right knee is getting pulled towards my left shoulder, and as I roll that in, I can feel a really good stretch. So let me show you on the other side. So if we're sitting in a chair right now, we lay that leg just like we're crossing our leg here. You can push down, see how well you do with that. If that's not doing a whole lot, then you go to stage 2 in a chair. You pull that knee to the opposite shoulder. So now I've got my left knee going towards my right shoulder, and I can feel a stretch right down there in my piriformis. So that's another way to do this stretch. I think the deepest stretch though is definitely that one where you're laying back and doing that type of stretch. So that's my number 1 choice, is that piriformis stretch. If I had only one muscle to choose to help my low back feel better, I would do the piriformis stretch. 2 would be the hamstring. 3 would be the calf. The last thing I'll mention is I do the yoga cobra stretch. So if your body allows it, just doing kind of that mini cobra. This is a good stretch for the back. And then if you want to take it into more of a full cobra and just bring it up, if your back allows it, as long as it's not too painful, I do this stretch and I'll just throw a different little spin on it, and I'll just move side to side. And I can feel my lumbars stretching. You've got your paraspinal muscles, which are the muscles right along your low back vertebra. And when I lift up like that and then I turn to the side, I'm stretching that right side right now. Now we're stretching the left side, and I can feel a pretty good stretch right in there. And then since we're on the topic of yoga, which I highly recommend to stay flexible, just the good old cat-cow's pretty good. We've got the cat, and then you bend down and you do the cow like that. So doing those 2 motions right there gets a pretty good back stretch going on also. So those are gonna be the back stretches that you wanna work on. As far as how many times a week do you wanna be doing this? I would say at a minimum, if you're having back troubles, you need to be doing this at least 2-3 times a week would be even better.